As you're going through lists or dictionaries, sometimes you want to write a loop that will go through every item in the dictionary. So you can use for loops and while loops, and we'll see how to do that. So here what I'm doing is I'm creating an empty dictionary. There are two ways to create the empty dictionary. You can use the curly braces, or there's a function built into Python that will give you an empty dictionary, and it's just called dict. So if you call dict with empty parentheses, it'll give you an empty dictionary. So both of these are currently empty. Okay, now if I want to loop through a dictionary, I can use a for loop, just like I was able to use a for loop with a string to get me every character. I was able to use a for loop with a list to give me every item in the list. I can also loop through a dictionary. When you loop through a dictionary, what you're going to get is a key. So here the keys are 123, 456, 789, and the values are my list of classes. So here, when I'm looping through, what I'm going to get back, the K that I'm going to get back is the key. And so if I want to see the value, I would have to go to the dictionary and use that key to get the value. Okay, and so if I do that, it will give me every single key. So here the K is the key. So I see that 123, all these keys, and I get the values. Let's do that together. So here I have my dictionary, and I want to print the dictionary. Instead of printing it in that format, I want to print it in my own format. So what I can do is write a for loop. So I can say for every, let's say, person, because here my key is people, right? So for every person in fav color, I'm going to print a message that says the person. And I want to say their favorite color, so person's favorite color is, and then I will put their favorite color. So I'm going to go to the dictionary, and I need the value, so I give it the key, which is the person's name, and that will give me the favorite color. Now here, because I want this apostrophe S stuck to person, I'm going to use the separator as nothing. I don't want any separator. So let's try that and see if we get it printed in a nice way. And here we do. I get Miki's favorite color is black, Minnie's favorite color is black, and Donald's favorite color is green. So when you're looping through a dictionary, just know that what you're getting back is the keys. You're not getting the values back. There's another way to get the values, and we'll see that in a minute. If I wanted to print this list, I could also do that. So remember, what we could do is we could say for every, let's say, value in my list, print list contains, and then here's the value. So here I'm not getting the indices, I'm getting the value. So this is a slight difference between lists and dictionaries. Dictionaries, when you loop through them, you are getting keys. You're looping through the keys. But with lists, what you're doing is that you're looping through the values. So with lists, for loop loops through the values. So this is going to give you back, it's as if it's a list of the values that are in the dictionary. Here, it's as if it's a list of keys that are, here a list of values in my list. This is a list of keys in my dictionary. And that's the slight difference between dictionaries and lists. Okay, what else can I do? You can get the length of a dictionary, so you can know, for example, how many items are in a dictionary. So I can go to this dictionary and say, print me the length of favorite color, just like I was able to do that with a string or a list. I can get the length of the dictionary, and it's going to tell me that it has 3. Okay. Here, let's just look at this example. So here I have a dictionary. If I ask for the length of classes, I have 1 key with a value, 1 key with a value, 1 key with a value. So it's going to tell me that it has 3 items. Here is a dictionary that contains mixed things. So dictionaries, just like lists, lists can contain mixed items. dictionaries can contain mixed items too. Here I have a dictionary that has one string as a key, a number as a key, and another kind of like a tuple as a key. And the values are number, string, list, and that's okay. All that is possible. So the nice thing about dictionaries is that you can use anything as the key. So for example, if I go back to my code, let's say I have here, you know, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and I have a person where they don't have a name. Let's say they are a nameless person, but they have an address, or they have like a social security number, you know, or a banner ID, like 167, for example. So I can say that 167 has a favorite color of orange, okay, and that'll work fine. And so when I try to print the contents, I will see that 167's favorite color is orange. So the nice thing about dictionaries is that the key can be anything, any data type, and the value can also be any data type. Now there are other methods that give you the keys and values. So here, for example, we have a banner IDs dictionary again, and I want a list of all the keys that are there. And so it gives it back to me as a list. If I wanted all the values, it will give me all the values. So the keys were grumpy, dopey, and sneezy, and the values were 123, 456, 789. And so if I wanted to traverse all the keys and print them, I could do that. And if I wanted to traverse all the values, I could also do that. Okay, so it's just extra methods that you can use. And another thing that you can do is you can convert those keys or values into a list. So those banner ID keys, this dictionary, if I go to the keys, which were grumpy, dopey, and sneezy, I can convert it to a list. So I can make a list of my keys or a list of my values for any reason, you know, for sorting, for example, if I wanted to sort the names of people that I have. So here, let's try that. Let's just comment out some stuff at the bottom. So here, let's say I want to get a list of all the people who I know things about. So I can go to, let's say people, I can say people equal to fave color dot keys. This is going to give me the keys, but it's not going to give it back to me as a list that I can traverse. So let me just show you. When I try to print people here, it does kind of look like a list, but not really a list because it has this dict keys wrapped around it. So what I have to do is convert it to a list. So just like we convert strings to numbers by using int or float or str to convert to a string, we can convert those keys into a list. And so now if I print it out, it looks more like a list. Okay. Now here, let's change this 167 to be a string so that we can actually sort this. So what I want to do now is sort them. So I can say people sort. Okay. And now it sorted it for me in alphabetical order. So you can, do that for the keys. You can do that for the values. So those are two extra methods that you can use. What else is available? You can use a get method to get a value that's in the dictionary. Why would I need that if I already have the square brackets? So if I wanted to print, grumpy, I want to get the value of grumpy. Well, all I had to do was put the dictionary name and then square brackets grumpy, and that's going to give me the 123, right? Well, the get method is going to do the same. Is you say get me grumpy, and it's going to give you the 123. Now, there's a slight difference why you would want to do that. If I tried accessing a person that's not in there, okay, so if I tried saying banner IDs of Sleepy, Sleepy is not in there. I'm going to get a what? I'm going to get a key error because it doesn't exist. I'm going to get an exception, right? So the get method is a nice way to check if something exists, and if it does, it's going to give you the value back. But what you can do with the get method is put a default value so that if I don't find Sleepy, this is what I want you to give me back. So here it's going to go and say, get me Sleepy, and it's going to check Sleepy, no, Sleepy, no, Sleepy, no. So I couldn't find Sleepy, so it's going to give you back 0, 0, 0. And so here it's printing what it returned back, which was the 0, 0, 0. Dictionaries also have a clear method. So if you wanted to delete everything in a dictionary and start fresh, you can say dictionary.clear. So here my dictionary has items in it. I clear it. I try printing it. It has nothing in it. Okay, let's practice. Let's practice the get method. So here, when I wanted to, where is the delete? Cake, for example. So let me just copy. Let's come here. Okay. So here, what I want to do is I want to see what cake has. So I can say, let's say fave equal to fave color of cake. Okay, and then we're going to print fave. So here, this code will crash because we know that cake is not in there. But what I can do instead of using that, because this line will crash, okay, so this line gives a key error because cake is not in the dictionary. So what I can do instead is I can say fave equal to fave color dot get. I want you to get me cake. And if you don't find it, maybe say unknown user, for example. And so when I run it, it tells me unknown user. So if you're running through, you know, running through code and saying, let's say you have a list of students and you want to get the classes for every student, but one student didn't register for classes. If you try going to the dictionary and say, get me the classes for the student, and you use the square bracket notation, your code will crash. But instead, what you can just say is get me, you know, the student name. And if you don't find it, just say no classes found or unregistered student or something. So this is a nice way so that you can avoid having an if check. You know, I would have had to here say if cake is in dictionary, you know, find it and print it up. Otherwise, tell me that it's not found. So this get does that for you. It checks if it's in the dictionary. If it does, it gives you the value. Otherwise, it'll give you back unknown user. Okay. Just like the list had pop and pop item. Sorry, it just had pop. Lists didn't have pop item. Dictionaries also have a pop. Let's see how it works. So here, what you want to do is you want to pop something. You want to pop a key. So if I go to here my banner IDs and I say pop me Sneezy, what it's going to do, it's going to remove Sneezy and give it back to me. So remember the difference between pop and delete. Delete was deleting it and removing it from the list or dictionary. Pop deletes it, yes, from the list or dictionary, but gives it back to you. So maybe you can print it or do something with it. So here I'm asking to pop Sneezy. So it's going to erase Sneezy. So Sneezy is going to go away along with the 789, but it's going to give it back to me so I can see what it deleted. And here it's going to give me the value that got deleted. And so when I now print banner IDs, I will find that Sneezy is gone. Okay, so I only have Grumpy, Dopey, and Sleepy in there. Now, sometimes you want to like empty the dictionary one by one. So I'm going through my students' dictionaries and I'm saying pop me an item so that I can process it. And then I want you to remove it so I know who I processed. So pop item just gives you back a random item and it gives it to you in something called the tuple format where you have the two things in parentheses. This is called the tuple. We're not going to touch upon it later. There's a chapter in the book about tuples, but we're not going to cover it in this course. And so now if I print it out, I get Grumpy and Dopey are left because I have popped dictionary. I've popped Sleepy. Okay, so these are all the methods that you can do with dictionaries, very similar to what we were able to do with lists. And so what I want you to do, this classwork is a little longer. It will take you a little bit longer to do. But basically, you're going to ask the user for the name of a dictionary file. So there's a file that is going to be on your computer that looks like the sample file. So you're going to create a file that looks like this. And this basically contains the names of some people and their phone number. And here, assume that the name is just one name, no first and last name, just one name. And so what your program is going to do is going to ask the user for this file name. You're going to type in the file name. The program is going to read in the file, and it's going to put it in a dictionary. Now, how do you read this one line and split it? So remember, when you read a line as a string, remember that the string has a method split, which gives you back a list. And we talked about that in the previous chapter. So if you forgot about it, you can go look at the notes of chapter 8. But there's a split method on the string. So this line, when you get it as a long string, you can split on the space. And so it's going to give you a list that has two parts. So the list location 0, list of 0 is the name, list of 1 is the value. So you can add that to the dictionary. And then what you're going to do is you're going to print a menu for the user. And these are the options that the user is going to have. Lookup, view, names, numbers, change, delete, and look on HackerRank to see, you know, what the exact wording of the menu. You can even copy it from the sample output on HackerRank. If the user chooses to look up by name, you're going to ask the user for the name of the person they want to find the phone number for. If the name is not in the phone book, you're going to print a meaningful message. Otherwise, you're going to print their phone number. So you're going to have to use the if in, you know, the in keyword to see if the name is in there, or you're going to use the get method with a default message. So those are the two options that you can use for lookup. View will print the contents of the phone book. Names will print the names only. So this is kind of like the keys, you know, calling the dot keys on the dictionary. Numbers will print the phone numbers only. So this is the dot values method on the dictionary. Change will ask for the new number to change a person to, and so it's going to replace what is in there already. And delete will delete a person. Now here also, if the name doesn't exist, make sure you print a meaningful message before, you know, don't make the code crash. So test your work on, you know, in Vue first and get it to work, and then test it on HackerRank and let me know if you have any questions.